Greetings, Space Rangers. So, with the holiday season just around the corner, there's been quite a few people watching some of my videos and commenting about the Disney Store and how they've had interviews and they're waiting for a call back to see if they're going to be getting a seasonal job at the Disney Store. And throughout the United States, throughout the U.S., Disney stores all around are starting to hire, and they look to train before Black Friday and the holiday season comes around. So I decided to make a quick video on what to expect for your first job at the Disney Store. Before anybody gets confused, this is on my opinion, my point of view from working at World of Disney for my first out-of-town job, out of the office from where I worked at financial aid. So this is in my opinion. I hope this helps you, and let's get started. After working for Disney during my time at the college program for 6 months, my perspective on guest service changed dramatically, and it helped. Working in retail especially helped me learn the hard work that gets put into retail. A lot of people get really impatient when they're waiting in a long line when it's retail, and I've learned to be patient and understand that there's a lot of hard work that's get put into retail. So if you're not in retail and just understanding the idea of guest service, if you work for Disney for at least 6 months, you start to appreciate the amount of work that's put into Disney and that concept of guest service. You'll learn on the job like how much work is put into it, and you'll appreciate what Disney does to create that magic. As Disney cast members, it's our job really to go out of our way to create magical moments, to have a happy child, happy family, happy parents. That's our job, to make people happy and to create those magical moments. And that's one of the first things that you should expect coming in as your first job at the Disney Store. But with a lot of new hires coming in, and Black Friday is just in 4 weeks, there's going to be a steep learning curve. You're going to have to learn on the job, on the spot, how to do all of these things, all the standard operation procedures on how to ring up a guest and how to handle the different situations. And most of the time, there's not going to be like a extra training session where you're going to be at a register on how to hand out cash, and that could be really nervousome for people that are just getting out of high school. They're 18 years old, first job out of high school, and that could be very stressful, especially when it's their first time, first job. Disney Store, guests expect a lot out of Disney. That could be a lot, but you just have to manage yourself in that situation. No, you have to be a fast learner, and don't be afraid to ask questions, especially if it's your first job. You have to take advantage of the opportunity when there's managers or leads available. That's why they're there. They're there to answer those questions. They've experienced anything that you've experienced. They probably experienced it already. So make it a goal to ask any questions if you have any. Don't even try to hesitate, because you know what? Next time that situation is going to come up and they're not going to be available, who are you going to ask now? Don't be afraid to ask questions. I get this thing a lot, that Disney cast members are perfect and they're perfect human beings and they never do anything wrong, and that's kind of like the first thing you'd expect from a guest. But you know, even though we are selected as Disney cast members, we are human. We do make mistakes, and but you really do try your best to be that perfect cast member, to always smile, to always offer a helping hand. And it's part of the act, it's part of the show to be magical, to be happy, to always smile. And for some people, they really have to try very hard to smile, and it's very important to remember that that's part of the job. if you're working at Disney and you're forcing yourself to smile and you're forcing yourself to be friendly, you're not going to pull off that act very long. Trust me. It's very rare that someone could act that way and force themselves to be like that the entire time, because you know what? It's going to show sooner or later, and managers and leads are going to see that, and it's very important to act natural in that environment. And that's the reason why there's a screening process for Disney, because they want to have there's an image of what a cast member does and what a cast member represents the company. If you fake that, they're gonna see that from the get-go. When they see that you can't interact with kids, you can't interact with parents, so that's something to expect. As I said before, there's a lot of hard work that's put behind the curtain for the show. Even like the little things that we do really changes that perspective on what the show does. Say for example that there's a guest that has a little princess daughter, and she is looking for a size 5'6" Cinderella costume. I'm not gonna go say, okay, I'll go check in a stock room for you. You don't say stock room. You don't say that. You say, okay, I'm gonna go to Cinderella's castle to see if she has a size for you. Say if a guest wants to have a Disney baby Mickey onesie, you're gonna go say, I'm gonna go see if Mickey and his friends have created one special for you. You add on to that magic to make it part of the show, and it's those little things that really make it count. And you know, there really is a lot of hard work that's put into creating the magic in the Disney store. I mean, I spent 4 hours helping out under stage set, and that was one of the hardest 4-hour shifts that I've ever worked. Like 10 minutes in the shift, I was sweating, and I didn't care. I did not care at all. I was working because I knew that in the end, the store was gonna look beautiful, and it was for the guests. And I knew that any of the items that I was putting out was gonna go to a very lucky girl or boy. This is kind of going off of the cast members are perfect. A lot of guests expect cast members to know everything about Disney, and it's nearly impossible to know everything about Disney. I mean, how are you supposed to know Walt Disney's cousin's friend's name? I mean, people are just gonna go insane about that. But it's very important to study your basic Disney facts and history, or be familiar with the films, be familiar with the TV shows, be familiar with anything that's under the Disney subsidiaries and its partners. So if a guest asks, so what's the name of that, you know, what's the name of Woody's friend in Toy Story, the one, the dog? You don't say, oh yeah, that character, yeah, I know what you're talking about. You have to say, oh yeah, that's Slinky. Or you have to be familiar with the characters. If a guest calls in, just like saying, hey, I'm looking for a size 7'8" in the Aurora costume, you're gonna have to know that Aurora also is Sleeping Beauty. Be familiar with those terms. Just be familiar with that. Like there was even a time when a guest came in asking for the names of the street racer cars in the first Cars movie, the ones that were like bugging him when he was falling asleep, when Mac was falling asleep during his ride when he was having Lightning McQueen out. I didn't know the names, so what did I do? I didn't say, sorry, I don't know, but I can ask somebody who might know. And that's the thing about Disney and just working at the Disney store. Unless you for surely know the answer to the question, you say, well, I don't know, but I can check for you. I can see if there's anybody else that might know. And that's the important thing. So be familiar with the Disney movies, be familiar with the facts, some history. Know that Disneyland was first established in 1955. Be familiar with that. Be familiar that about a lot of with Oswald re-emerging in the scene. A lot of guests are wondering, so where did he come from? So who is this Oswald character? How come he's so big? And just know that he was the original Mickey Mouse. It was Walt Disney's first creation before Mickey. And a lot of people don't know the history, so tell them about the history of Oswald, and tell them that in the way that Disney got back Oswald was from a trade for one of NBC's sportscasters. So a human being was traded for a cartoon, right? I mean, not a lot of people know that, and that they can study that, they can just Google that, whatever. But it's fun to know those Disney facts and histories, because when you're ringing up guests, it's not like you're paying something at Macy's and it's just, this is what I want, swipe, sign. I mean, at the Disney store, you are expected to have conversation with your guest and make it a very personal experience. Every now and then, in any retail position, there's gonna be a guest that is having a difficult time with the store. Say they want to return an item and it's past 30 days, but they received it as a gift and they received it in the mail from somebody and they never had the opportunity to return it because they were out of town, they've been traveling for business, and you know, there's going to be some policies that we can be flexible with, and there's going to be some we have to be firm with, and saying, sorry ma'am, you cannot return this Vinylmation. You can trade, but you can't return it. And I mean, there's going to be situations like that. I mean, I had a situation with a guest working at World of Disney where she had a daughter that had a premium pass, and the mom was purchasing like $200 worth of items, so the daughter tried to hand the mom her premium pass to get the 20% off. And I said, sorry ma'am, if you're using a credit card, I cannot authorize you to use your daughter's pass. The annual pass is not transferable. So, I mean, the daughter didn't have a credit card or anything to pay with, so I gave the mom a couple options. Like, you really have to get into the situation, understand from the guest, and saying, I understand you're upset, but this is our policy. Whether the cast members in the park are not checking ID or allowing the non-transferable items and passes and credit cards to go through, that's not our policy. We follow the rules here. And you know, I offered a couple of ways so that she can get around it. I had an option where she can buy a gift card for the exact value of her items, and the daughter can use that gift card. I gave her an option to go to the ATM, didn't like it, and she ended up just paying the full amount, and she was upset. And you have to be able to handle those situations. You can't let if you have a bad temper and you get angry easily, chances are that you're not going to last long in Disney, because you really have to keep your cool, especially under those situations. You can't let your head get into you. You have to feel for the guest. You have to understand the guest's perspective. So if you're a people person, you have to be able to understand the guest situation and give them options on what to do. But first and foremost, do not yell at the guest. Do not get to their level. Stay in your role as a Disney cast member, where you're trying to serve the guest. One of the last things that you'd expect is be prepared to step out of your comfort zone. Not a lot of people are prepared for that, or as I said before, Disney Store is a different experience other than like any other retail position. There's a lot of things that come to mind, but you have to be prepared to be magical throughout the entire time. Like, say for today, when we answer phones, we have to say either it is a spectacular day here at your Disney Store in Plaza Bonita, or you can say it is a monstrous day here at your Disney Store in Plaza Bonita, because Monsters University just came out today, October 29th. So you have to be prepared to step out of your comfort zone, be friendly with guests, know how to offer a helping hand without any hesitation. Don't just awkwardly look at a guest and say, "Are you finding everything okay?" I mean, you have to say, "Are you finding everything okay, ma'am or sir?" You have to let the guests know that you are aware of their presence, and sometimes that could annoy people, but it's very important that you are aware of their presence, and guests know that you know that they are present, because when they come to the store, it's like they're coming into your home, and you have to service them. You have to guest service them. With that said, if you're watching this and you were offered a position at the Disney store, I congratulate you. Welcome to the Disney family. It is a very awesome opportunity for you, especially if it's your first job. Having Disney on your resume will really change your chances of getting other jobs, because a lot of people like the fact that like Disney, and they understand the amount of hard work that's put into Disney. So having Disney on your resume is a huge plus. Even when I interviewed for engineering positions, they were really impressed that I worked for Disney, even though it was in retail. They enjoyed the fact that as a Disney cast member, there's certain expectations, and they love those expectations, like communication-wise, being able to talk effectively, and being able to work well with others. Those are things that are transferable in other job fields. So again, thank you so much for watching my videos. Be sure to leave a comment below on your experiences in your first job in the Disney store. And again, thank you all so much for watching. See you all later, cadets.